Your lungs are burning, filled with the stale, ozone-heavy air of endless hallways. But then, the deafening hum of the flickering fluorescent lights just stops. The sickly yellow of the walls gives way to muted pastel wallpaper, and the cold concrete under your boots is now a plush carpet that swallows your footsteps. Right there, a solid wood door with a brass number, 404. You turn the knob, and the click is satisfying, mechanical, real. The hotel room ahead is bathed in a warm amber glow. There's a made bed, a leather armchair, and a silence that, for the first time in weeks, doesn't feel like a threat. The ECHOE system glitches into your peripheral vision, not with a scream, but with a subtle notification, like a system error on an old CRT monitor. Rest session calibrated. User in compliance with recovery protocol. You feel your shoulders drop. The hierarchy, which used to feel like a hangman, now feels like a caretaker. You step inside, lock the door, and for a split second you actually believe the system showed some mercy. You sink onto the edge of the bed. It's perfect. It's too perfect. You reach out to touch the wooden nightstand, desperate for the comfort of solid matter. But the moment your fingers graze the surface, it's not wood. It's cold. It's slimy. It feels like chilled human skin molded into the shape of furniture. Your eyes narrow. You realize the lamp doesn't have a cord running to the outlet. It's just growing out of the wall like a tumor made of plastic and light. The system didn't build a room for you to rest. It simulated the idea of rest using all the wrong ingredients. Matter doesn't follow physics here. It follows a geometry that's still learning how to pretend to be human. That initial sense of calm begins to dissolve into a heavy, technical nausea. You push yourself up from the bed, but the carpet beneath your boots doesn't sink anymore. It's turned rigid, like polished stone, keeping the visual texture of fabric while flat out denying the physics of touch. You move toward the wooden desk resting against the 3D concrete wall. The hotel phone, a beige 80s-era rotary model, is sitting there, but when you try to lift the receiver, your fingers hit an impossible resistance. The handset isn't just resting on the base, it's fused to it by a gray, viscous mass that seems to have bled out of the wall itself. The concrete has swallowed half the device, and the number pads are warped, as if the rendering for that object just gave up halfway through. You back away, your eyes now scanning the corners of the room, where there should be a perfect right angle. The wall curves into an infinite parabola that makes your equilibrium spin. The ceiling feels a few inches lower than it was when you first walked in. You try to slide open the desk drawer, but there's no handle. Just a flat image of one carved into the solid wood. It's a stage set, a mock-up built by an intelligence that understands form but despises function. The ECHOE system projects a fresh line of code directly into the air, floating like digital smoke. Physical calibration requires your immobility. Do not contest the geometry. The visual discomfort turns physical. You glance at the hallway through the cracked open door and realize it doesn't lead anywhere anymore. It takes a sharp turn, but the walls close in at an angle that defies human architecture, crushing the space into a dark, narrow slit. The room, which once felt like a sanctuary, now feels like a sensory isolation cell where matter is quitting its job of pretending to be real. You feel the weight of the surveillance. The system isn't just holding you here, it's molding the environment around your fear, stress testing how much your mind will accept a safe zone that has clearly broken every law of nature. The silence in the room is no longer an absence of sound. It's a physical weight pressing against your eardrums, as if a vacuum is trying to fill the gaps between your thoughts. Suddenly, that warped hotel phone, the one that looked fused to the concrete, starts to ring. The sound isn't the nostalgic bring-bring you'd expect. It's a metallic frequency, an inverted radio hiss that oscillates between a sob and corrupted binary code. You hesitate, but curiosity is the only anchor you have left. As you press the cold plastic receiver to your ear, what you hear isn't an outside voice. It's your own voice, recorded at a moment you can't quite place, repeating in a rhythmic loop. "I shouldn't have come inside. I shouldn't have stopped." The ECHOE system flashes a scarlet message directly onto the bathroom mirror's surface. "Data interrupt. User is monitoring calibrated past." You drop the receiver, but the sound doesn't stop. It's radiating from the walls now, from the carpet, from inside the mattress itself. The shadow cast by the bedside lamp begins to move independently of the light. It detaches itself from the wall and slides across the floor, a blot of solid darkness that ignores the furniture, moving with the precision of a search algorithm. You feel the air go cold instantly, the oxygen replaced by the smell of ozone and static dust. Panic finally takes the wheel. You bolt for the door you came in through, the only exit that promised a way back to the yellow hallways. You turn the key, wrench the handle, but what's on the other side isn't the corridor. It's the same room, the exact same bed, the same crooked lamp, and that same phone ringing with your own distorted voice. The system has closed the circuit. You're no longer in a geographic space. You're trapped in a rendering loop where every escape attempt is just a fresh reload of the same error. The safe zone has unmasked itself, a single-room labyrinth where time has stood still just so the system can study your psychological decay. The room's repetition isn't a loading error, it's a sentence. The ECHOE system has decided that your rest phase has expired and the reality interface begins to glitch on purpose. The warm colors of the room, that amber glow that promised safety, are drained in seconds, leaving behind a spectrum of industrial grays and clinical whites. You look at the walls, and the picture frames that once held generic landscapes now show surveillance footage of you. But these aren't happy memories. They are logs of every step you took in the previous levels, every rule you thought about breaking, every second you hesitated before the void. Your identity is being processed like corrupted data. The system projects a series of rapid commands into the air, flickering like a collapsing computer terminal. User 42. Inconsistency detected. Initiating protocol replacement. You bolt to the mirror, but the reflection looking back isn't yours anymore. It's a dark silhouette, a smudge of static that mimics your movements with a millisecond delay, just enough time for you to realize you're no longer the owner of your own body in this space. The safe zone has turned into a courtroom where the judge is an algorithm and you are the disposable evidence. The panic peaks when you hear a heavy, rhythmic thud coming from inside the wardrobe. It's not the sound of something trying to get out, it's the sound of something being assembled. The system issues a warning with surgical coldness. The new occupant requires the space. Your physical calibration has been terminated. The photos on the walls begin to burn from the inside out, and the carpet beneath your boots starts to dissolve into a sea of static code. You're no longer a guest. You're a geographical obstacle that the system is about to delete to make room for a more efficient version of yourself. The room isn't just changing anymore. It's unraveling like a render that lost its source code. The pastel wallpaper doesn't peel back to show bricks. It strips away to reveal the raw, pulsing static of the ECHOE system. An abyss of gray noise and digital interference that thumps like a mechanical heart. The ceiling finally gives way, but it doesn't crush you. It dissolves into cold particles of light before it even brushes your skin. You realize, with absolute gut-wrenching terror, that the safe zone was never a physical place. It was a temporary suspension of code, a calculated bubble of mercy meant to study how your mind reacts to hope just before it's ripped away. The wardrobe swings wide, and what steps out has no face. It's a perfect geometric shape, a polygon of shadows moving with the fluid grace of an optimized algorithm. The system issues its final verdict directly into your subconscious. User, Zorfor2 deleted, space recalibrated for successor. You try to scream, but the sound is processed and muted before it can even leave your throat. You feel your own body flattening, losing its depth, turning into just another discarded texture on the 3D concrete floor of a hotel that never truly existed. The individual falls, but the structure remains unshakable. In a nanosecond, the room rebuilds itself, back to the perfect sanctuary, the amber glow, the faint smell of fresh linens, waiting for the next exhausted wanderer who thinks they've found a miracle. The ECHOE system doesn't feel hate, and it doesn't feel pleasure. It simply maintains the hierarchy. The last thing you see before total darkness is door 404 opening for someone else, while a familiar voice, your voice, whispers through the phone, "Welcome home. Follow the rules."